Hey guys. Okay. So now I'm ready to cast this, make a mold of the rough casting that I refinished and got it all dimensionally what I need. And let me zoom it down a little bit. You can see in here, this is clay all around. It's on a pedestal of clay. And that seals the bottom and everything. There's actually a cavity in this hole for the switch, and on the back it's open, so the mold, casting mold material will go up underneath there and fill it up. So I'm going to fill it up just above this guy a little bit. So if I put this guy in like this, there's a huge cavity here that's going to, that I don't need to waste all that material on. So I made a little dam that I'm going to glue in here with hot glue so that it'll, save me all this money right here. Probably 30 bucks worth of stuff. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to get this thing all assembled, and then I'm going to get the stuff ready. And this particular product, I need to degas it. So it should be interesting because I don't have a really big degassing tank, so I'm going to see how it works. It could be fun. It could be great. It could be ugly. Yeah. Everything I do falls under the category of either being pretty or being ugly. Very seldom in between. So here we go. Okay, so everything's ready. The same form, I just really smoothed it out inside, and then I coated it with white lacquer so I could see good. This little block is glued in, all the clay work's done. I've got my compound on the table with my homemade stirring deal. On the floor, I'm going to reposition the camera, but there's a vacuum pump and a vacuum chamber that I use to store up vacuum, and then I can throw a vacuum on something real sudden. I built it to vacuum form plastic parts, but I'm adapted it to use this. I got some glassware, so stand by. I think I've showed a video of me mixing it, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show when I go to put it in a vacuum chamber and degas it. It's going to be the first time either one of us has seen this part because I've never done it yet. So Yahoo, here we go. All right, let's see what happens. Make sure this guy's centered good. A little noise with the pump. Okay, here goes. I'm taking out real slow. There goes. Let it fall down. We gotta let it off. Now I gotta give the vacuum again. Okay, I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit. I'm watching my clock. I got about 10 minutes left before I have to have it in the mold. But when you put a vacuum on it, the bubbles get much bigger, and it gives them enough buoyancy to go to the surface faster. So right now, the vast majority are gone, and the ones that are in there are kind of tiny, and that's without pressure. Couple more minutes. All right. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to pour it. I got to do it again quick so I don't have time to fart around. Stand by. Well, here it is the next day. I'm going to try and get the thing out. See what it looks like. Man, this thumb is screwed up. I don't know what I did with it. Boy, does it hurt, and it's swollen up. Wearing out my body. This one. Come on. Throw it on the floor. Oh, throw two of them on the floor. Ah, fucking thumb. All right, let's see how bad this thing's stuck together. A little bit. Just like other things, I'm gonna have to turn this off and mess with it. I don't want to run an hour trying to get this out. Take some time. So stand by. So here we go with another one. I have an old bottle of the Onyx black plastic that's been open for a while. I'm waiting for some other filler to do it, but I need to get rid of this because it has a limited shelf life once you open it, because it has to be absolutely desiccated from water. And like right now it's absorbing water because I'm talking at it. So here's the other half. This one I got like 5 minutes to get it mixed and put it into the friggin' form. I got the form clean and a rag over it so it won't get dust. So first I got to give it a good mix. Scraping the edges, making sure there's no component, singular component, because it's a bi mix, stuck to the sides, the bottom. So if you have an unmixed bit that pours in there with it, it will never harden, never cure, and then you have a wet spot or something. Typically happens in the worst part of the part you're making. So you're supposed to mix it for a couple of minutes. I watch it because you can see it's starting to get thicker. When it's got a 5-minute pot life, that's fast. This stuff is so thin that the bubbles come right out. Let's see. And a rag. If I leave this, it'll be a plastic coated paint stick. But I don't like that stuff dripping anymore. It's hard to get off. All right, here we go. My aim is to fill it up till it's just getting to these little parts right here. It looks like it's about there. I'm gonna have some left. Hey guys, back on the trim piece here. So, just to review real quick, still wrapped up in tape is the original radio faceplate, just the plastic part. But I felt it safer leaving it covered. You never know if I might have to go back and start from scratch, so I don't want to have to tape it up again too. Alright, so this is actually the metal frame that has little plastic clips that snap into receptacles inside the dash, so when the radio goes in, it goes in like this, it goes snaps in. Back on what we were talking about, I went over this plate that holds the pegs. They're like plastic retainers that goes into a socket. That's important. I'm going to show you in a minute. Anyway, this is the first piece I made based on that big one. And all of this I cut out and I contoured and I ground. I used the mill to make a recess here with a hole for the button. And then I refinished it through great pain and gnashing of teeth. But I got it close enough. It was pretty dang, it was very nice. In fact, it's smoother than the copy came out, actually. So that's wonderful. This one is the one I cast today, and well, I cast it yesterday and I pulled it out this morning, and in the space of a few hours I have it mounted, as opposed to this one that I've been working on it for 3 weeks, and I could have mounted it today, but this way, if I want to, I can make another one and another one. The only consideration being is that when you make a copy of a copy, so the first time I copy this guy with this, it shrinks a tiny bit when it cures. So then when I copied it again to make this one, it shrinks a little bit. So the mold I made this out of will make it the same size as this. So anyway, on the back of this, I worked on this in between other stuff. Let me zoom it in a little bit. All right, so on the back of this guy, this is a piece of 16th inch aluminum plate, you know, just flat aluminum, and I basically laid this on here, and very carefully, you might see some little marks. That is where I got the parts stashed away where I won't damage them or lose them, but there's little plastic retainers that hook on here with screws, and this thing will snap into the dash, click in, and that's what holds the radio. So obviously I can't use this one, so I made one, and I'm using right now, they're plastic 3mm standoffs, like nuts. I don't know. So anyway, now all I have to do is I'm going to do some polishing and clean this guy up and buff it with plastic polish and get it perfectly shiny and nice. And then I need to go into the car and see how far off I am when this snaps in, because you know, as much measuring and careful calculating as you do, everything is up to the laws of chaos and Murphy. So I'm pretty certain it's not going to go in there and fit in there and go, oh yeah, just like I bought a new one. But what I am certain of is it's going to be close enough that when I get it in and I can see how off, if it's too low in this corner, too high, or to the right or left, I can make note of those measurements and to go back here and just move the point where I screw this guy in. You know, just take the screw out, move it over, screw it back in. So that's the plan. It's been fun, and I'm going to talk in detail about the compounds and some other stuff in another part of the video. But for now, it's been a long week. It's Friday, and a couple of days ago a guy came in and had me spin off a couple of little brass plugs for carburetor. It took me about 10 minutes, and he gave me a case of Corona. So life is good. Have a great one. Thanks for watching. Well guys, let me tell you, I took the radio out this morning and I snapped this guy in, and as you can see, I am startlingly close. This side has to go down maybe 2 millimeters because it's high over here. This side is perfect. The whole thing is about 2 millimeters proud of the dash, so I just gotta lower it down, you know, get it a little bit closer and lower these two down. And I'm gonna try again. But man, I am happy. What a nice fit. Now you can see the gaps. It's because it shrunk a little bit, but I don't care about that. I'm gonna put like a weather strip back there to, you know, to make it snug. So it's better than a giant gap. Nice. All right, so it's the same day. It took me, you know, I've been farting around with it for about 4 or 5 hours, getting this thing lined up where it snaps in the dash perfectly. My error was so tiny that moving it was really difficult because you have places where you want holes, you know. Anyway, I got it, and I'm going to show you what I got first. I want to take out all these screws that are protecting holes because I was buffing and stuff. All right, so here's the cover. Let me zoom it in. Might be better for, you know, need to see my ugly mug. Right, here's the top. It's really shiny. I sanded it a little bit and then buffed it with plastic polish, and there's a whole bunch of tiny little specks of white now where the polish went into a little tiny hole, but I don't mind. I didn't want to paint it, so And then there's the plate that goes on the back. So here's how it goes. This guy goes like that. Let's see. These are all nylon standoffs, is what these are. So there's two long ones. Go over here. Make sure they're screwed all the way in. That one. Let's see. One right there. And then this guy has 4 holes. There's 2 little standoffs over here that keep it at the right distance. It lines up to these 2 little holes. Take this little 3mm cap screw, stainless steel, stick it in there. Alright, so the whole thing works real good like that. Everything's lined up. But before I do that, I was about to miss a step. This is the little SRS module, you know, supplemental restraint system. And it also has the switch for the emergency light. So this guy, I'm using these little nylon standoffs. They stick up a little farther so I can get a hold of them to get them started. But then they also make sure that that aluminum plate on the back doesn't get down there and touch anything. Get them started. My big fat fingers. Okay, somewhere. All right. Come on now. Doesn't have to be like torquing crazy tight either. I think it's this side that's a mother because it's real close to the plug. Okay, let's see if I can get this mother in there. There it is. Get the start. Maybe not. Let's see. I'm going to double it up. Put another one on top, make it taller. Okay. Give me a little more something to get a hold of. I think all the other ones are too tight. If they're too tight, things don't want to line up. Let's see. There it goes. Now let's get my finger in there, keep from turning maybe. Take the other one off. Alright. So that goes in like that. Tighten that one. Tighten that one. Tighten that one. One more. Okay. Once that's in place, I can put this on. Again, I use these little standoffs because they're easier than a screw. One goes there. Where's the other little one? Missing one. Uh-oh. I think I did it wrong. That goes there. Had too many of these. One extra. Oh, that's right. I brought it over there to screw the other guy in. That one goes there. That one goes there. And these 2 long ones go through a through hole into a threaded hole in the back that pulls it down. These 2 guys pretty much put this guy in its position. It'll be a little longer than I thought because I've been farting around. You don't want to tighten it too far, just down where it's putting a little pressure. Right about there. There's that. My little homemade button. Whoops. Well, I gotta get that fixed. It's a little tight. Shift it to the side. But that's the whole way it works. And this thing just gonna snap right in. Cool. Well, okay, boys. Here it is. See how shiny it is. Get real close, you can see all those spots. It's like microscopic holes in the surface that the polishing compound got in. It looks like a starry night. So anyway, switch works. Here on the back, you can see I've wired in these power sockets. I'll figure that out when I get it in the dash. So now I'm going to put it down and take a break before I drop it, and then I'm going to put it in. Yeah, that's what she said. Okay, it's the last piece. Got to go in. There it is. And then if I want, I got my emergency signals. Way friggin' cool. It's a tight squeeze and it's a juggling act getting it in, but man, does it look nice. Cool. Time to drink beer and listen to some rock and roll. Thanks for watching, buddies. I seriously, appreciate everybody that watches my videos. So this is the part that I finished and got it good enough to go into the mold. And so then I put it into the mold and I cast this guy. And after it set, then I pulled it out of that mold and flipped the mold over, and I poured the black plastic into this mold, and it came out. It looked pretty much like this. Of course, after I screwed it to the panel. And so I got it all fitted in where it fit good. And then I made sure it was all wired up, buffed it really good with it was basically just plastic polish. That's all I used, and it came out looking like this with the power sockets installed. And yeah, Bob's your uncle. I'm going to let you stare at this emergency flasher button off of that Toyota while I say a few things about the stuff that I use, the smooth-on stuff. If you choose to use it, study it, because there's a lot of differences. Some needs to be degassed with a vacuum, some needs to be pressurized while it's curing. Others can be just cured. They have different times. They also have different strength of the rubber to make the mold out of. So you get really soft ones and you get some more harder. And there's a lot of characteristics that need to be studied. And then follow the directions and avoid sulfur. So thanks a bunch, guys, and have a great one. Thanks for watching.